if you do not have this step-by-step in your pickleball business, you will lose out on revenue, and your students, your clients, will not move and get the results that they can, because what typically happens when you go and see a pickleball coach is you go and see them, and I've done this, I've been to see pickleball coaches, and they say, okay, see you next time. When you have a specific niche and you lay out a path that they can move through, you will increase your revenue and you will have happier students. My name is Simon Lovell, founder of Picklepreneurs, and on this channel, I help you grow and scale your pickleball business. And today we're talking about gamification, we're talking about ascension, and this is going to make you money. This is actually what I've used helping a pickleball coach. Now she's doing about $8,000 in a month as one example. And the reason for that is that she has implemented this step by step. So I'm giving you the outline in this training, and I'm going to give you a specific example. And then if you stay to the end, I'm also going to give you some great resources that you can use to continue to grow and scale your pickleball business. Now, I first learned about this many, many years ago. So I had a company which helped personal trainers grow and scale their businesses. And what I did was I implemented a system and a process whereby, for example, they came in, they got different t-shirts, and they moved through these different levels. And the different levels were based upon the income that they made that I helped them to make. So typically someone would come to me, and then maybe at the start of their journey, they'd be earning, say, for example, between $1,000 and $3,000 a month, and I would take them to 10. And then when they would get to 10, they would move up into a different level. And it was actually blue to yellow to white to black. Okay, just so you understand. Then what happened was that I had a mastermind, which I did all over the world. And I actually flew in a guy who is one of the top gamification experts in the world. His name is Yukai Chow. He's got a great book, by the way, called Actionable Gamification. He has a system called the Octalysis Framework, and it's really cool to just learn about gamification. And so what I'm really doing here is applying the principles of what I've done historically in my own businesses, and then you can start to apply them, of course, into your pickleball business. Now, the great thing about this is that if you love playing video games, actually, I used to play video games before I became a personal trainer, and it really helps you to understand human behavior when it comes to, for example, triggering certain actions. And so this ascension, you can see here, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, it only works if you're getting results with people. But if you are getting results with people, then people are going to want to continue, and they're going to want to continue because they, for example, get the bug, right? They start learning about pickleball, they get addicted, and they want to get better. And so this allows you to move them through, and also they're going to continue to reinvest. One of the challenges in a business, okay, not just about lead generation, but the other challenge, of course, is going to be retention. And so it makes much more financial sense to build in this model, because then when it comes to you advertising and putting more spend into your business, then you've got people coming back to you, and it's a lot easier to continue to have people reinvest with you if you do a good job than, for example, keep on having to go and get new customers and clients or students in this example, okay? Now, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 is going to be dependent on the niche that you have chosen. Because let's just say, for example, you're watching this as a pro and you only work with a certain level, then the path that you create is going to be specific to you. But what I'm going to do is give you an example path, okay? And I'm going to go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, okay? So let's just say that your path is working with beginners. Then stage 1, as an example, all right, could be a 101. A stage 2 could be a 102. A stage 3 could be a tournament. And a stage 4 could be a league. As another example, a stage 1 could be a beginner. I'm just going to use the beginner as another example because it's simple, but I'll give you some alternatives here, right? Stage 1 could be 101. Stage 2 could be 102. Stage 3 could be a tournament, and then stage 4 could be a retreat. Okay? So understand that you can design these stages specific for you. And then the other part of this, which is as more trust gets built, you can then also bring in higher ticket offers in the higher stages, because people know you, they like you, they trust you. So for example, you could have lessons or clinics in the earlier stages, and then people can invest to do something for a longer period. So for example, for 12 weeks or for 6 months or even a year, depending on what you do. Now, I also want to share here that, and one of the big things that I like to teach, and actually a conversation I had the other day, was pickleball and. What I mean by that is pickleball and, say, for example, I'll use life coaching as the example. So here, you could also have stage 1 as beginner lessons, stage 2 as, it could be a clinic, stage 2 is the next level, the more advanced, right? I say 102, but really that's a more advanced beginner. And then another stage could be an introduction to the other things that you do. For example, life coaching. You could also have another stage, which is, a completely different direction. All right. So it doesn't, the point I'm making here is that as you learn other skills, or you have other skills, because I completely understand that a lot of pickleball coaches, they don't just have the skills of a pickleball coach. You also have skills that may be, you may be a relationship coach. You may, for example, selling something completely different. And so pickleball becomes the introductory because they like pickleball, but then they get introduced to the other things that you do. And the great thing about this ascension is that as you continue to grow, as you continue to innovate yourself, then you can add different experiences. And that's the big thing about this ascension model, which is essentially it's an experience path. And a lot of the conversations I'm having with pickleball coaches is this: I don't want to do the way that everyone else is doing it. And that's the great thing about the ascension model. You get to choose the path that you create. For example, if you're in a relationship, then one of the things that you can do is you could create something that, has people, come together on date nights. Okay. If you are single, then maybe the path could be that people are going to meet other people. All right. So think of this in terms of rewarding, people continuing to reinvest, and you get to be really creative. So the great thing about this, and there's just a really cool exercise, is that you can now start to plot out these different levels. Also, I want to talk to you about bundling. So even though these are in stages, and you've got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and maybe that stage 1 is $50 or $100, and then stage 2 is another $100, and then stage 3 is, say, for example, and it moves up to, say, $300 to $500, and then stage 4 is $1,000. You can also, once you understand the path is working, then you can actually bundle them together so that when people come to you, you can visually explain the different levels that people are going to go through. And then you could say, for example, would you like to, invest in the path, essentially? Now, that takes probably a different sales strategy, right? Depending on how good you are, right? You're going to need to slightly pivot how you sell it and learn different sales skills. One of the things I can teach you. But that is a great way then to bring in more upfront revenue by showing them the path. The reason why for some people that they will not want to do that is because they do not yet know that they want to go all in pickleball. Me as an example, when I first started pickleball, I got my first paddle, but I didn't know that I was going to get hooked. I didn't know that I was going to get addicted. Now, then, of course, after a month of playing frequently, I'm like, I'm all in. I went in to get my next paddle. And, excuse me, many of us go through that journey. So a certain amount of people will come to you and they just want to do stage 1. But when they complete stage 1, they want to do stage 2 and they want to move up, and they'll move up relatively quickly. But On the other hand, some people may come to you because they are already playing pickleball and they want to move up quicker, right? Now, in these stages too, of course, you can have things like drills, you can have, all sorts of, different, ways to essentially coach and transform, but you also want to see this player ascension as a transformation process. Another little pro tip too, which is within these different stages are the stages of which you want to gain testimonials, and you want to get as many of those as possible, because the more that you get, the more you can use those testimonials for marketing. So for example, when someone completes stage 1, or particularly a good area is going to be stage 2, by that time they've most likely made friends, they've built their confidence, they would have lost weight, they would have maybe done some other things depending on what you offer. For example, if you offered life coaching, maybe there's a transformation that you notice that happens, between stage 2 and stage 3. I, for example, created a process called Super High Performance, and I track and I measure at every single stage, right? So I measure when people come in, I measure them, I get feedback at each different stage, and I know the points of transformation. In fact, I've put so many people through that process that I can speak to someone in a conversation, get to know them, and really know when they're going to get that shift. And that's one of the really cool things as you start to work with more people and start to put people through your process. Then you will start to recognize, this is when people start to get a real shift in their confidence, in their game. And of course, it's dependent on different people. So let me know in the comments, do you have a kind of a rough idea of what you have right now and what your ascension model could be? We can flesh out some ideas in the chat. And then if you want to learn more about this, definitely head into the school community. There's going to be a link on the page, on the channel, and also in the description. Go into that community. And if you're new as a pickleball coach, there's a 5-day challenge in there. There's also a mindset training. There's also a branding training. And then there's also access to Coach Mastery if you want to learn more. And you can, of course, reach out. We can have a conversation about really dialing this in. Without this, I can safely say that a lot of people really struggle, because what happens is they go into the normal mode of business of like one-to-one or groups, splitting costs. You'll know I speak a lot about that on the channel, but this really helps you once you've dialed this in, once you've drilled this in for your niche specifically. It will give you just a lot of confidence as people start to move through. And also, another little pro tip is that you want to offer the next stage after completion of the first stage. All right, one of the best times to upsell is going to be when someone completes. And so these small nuances are very important, because, for example, if someone just leaves, then you've got to essentially re-engage with that person. But if they know about the stage when they come in, or at least when they complete a stage that they can move and ascend, then most likely, because of the endorphin rush and them being excited, they're going to be like, oh my God, I want more. All right, so one of the best ways to get people to continue to reinvest is by giving them more, but at a different level. And of course, then you can do fun things in the business by giving away gifts and doing different things. And of course, the big turning point for a lot of people is going to be, ascending through tournament. By the way, stage 3 for a beginner is going to be a beginner's tournament, which is a good example of something that you can do. Again, one example of many different things that you can do in the pickleball space. I hope that you're excited by this. I'm excited for you to start not just learning this stuff, but implementing and growing. Get inside the school community. Let's potentially have a conversation, and let's start to get your revenue up, get your impact up, and change more lives in pickleball. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button, and I will see you very soon. Take it easy.